ለመማር ወደ ትምህርት ተቋም መሄድ ግድ አይደለም። ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ
ራሳችሁን ከኮሮና ቫይረስ ወረርሽኝ እየጠበቃችሁ በቤታችሁ ወይም በተመቻችሁ ቦታ በኢንተርኔት አማካኝነት በኦንላይን ትምህርታችሁን መከታተል ትችላላችሁ።
ካናዳ ከሚገኘው ኢንተርናሽናል ኤር ትራንስፖርት አሶሲዬሽን አያታና ከእንግሊዙ ኢንስቲትዩት ኦፍ ኮመርሻል ማኔጅመንት ICM ጋር በመተባበር የሚሰጡ ትምህርቶችን ተከታትላችሁ በ6 ወር ጊዜ በዓለም አቀፍ ደረጃ ተቀባይነት ያለውን የስልጠና ማስረጃ ባለቤት መሆን ይቻላል።
ልምድ ባላቸው መምህራን እየተማራችሁ ጥያቄና መልስ የክፍል ስራዎች ፈተና መፈተን ክፍል ውስጥ እንዳላችሁት አይነት በኦንላይን ባላችሁበት ቦታ ከናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ
የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ
እንዴት ናችሁ? I think it's better to start the class. Shall we start the class, or if you have any question before we proceed to the class, so you can raise any question with regard to the course, since we will wind up the class in this session. እስኪ ባለፈው የቆምንበትን ልትነግሩ ትችላላችሁ? I think እዚህ ጋር መሰለኝ analysis of individual middlemen. Let's start. How to? Mainly this chapter deals about industrial channel. This industrial channel strategy is important to deliver the product or the industrial product from producer to the business, or from producer to the users. The users may be business organization, or it may be government organization, or government organizational or educational institution, and so on. So from producer to consumer, so we can deliver a business product or industrial product either directly or indirectly. So directly, simply the producer or the manufacturer send the product to the consumer or the business users, not directly. No middle person or no middleman involved in direct channel. But because of the nature of the market or the nature of the product, there might be, third person or marketing intermediaries between the business or the manufacturer. So in this case, so who will be the middleman? Who will be? So actually there are 3 middlemen between the producer and the user in industrial market. As you know, in consumer market, there are also different marketing intermediaries: retailer, wholesaler, agent, or in some cases, there are also, someone who involved in commission, so a kind of dealer. But in industrial market, in indirect channel, there are major 3 middlemen: 1 industrial distributor, 2 industrial or manufacturer's representative, and the last would be the industrial, sometimes dealer or industrial agent. So there are 3 middlemen involved in industrial market or an industrial marketing channel. So in this case, let's see who are they. So the analysis of industrial middlemen. So most of the time in industrial market, there are three major middlemen between the producer and the user. These are industrial distributor and manufacturers representative. These two middlemen is independent operators. They are out of the control of the manufacturer, whereas the last middleman, which is the manufacturer's agent, could be independent, which means it's under the control of the manufacturer. So in this case, let's see turn by turn. So the first industrial man in industrial market or industrial middleman is industrial distributor. This industrial distributor is a middleman in buying and selling industrial products for industrial users. So in this case, this industrial distributor take the product from manufacturer and store the product and sell to the industrial users. So in this process, the industrial distributor will take the title of the product. There is a title or ownership transfer between the producer and the industrial distributor. So in this case, this industrial distributor will take the product ownership and sell to the users. So industrial distributor is independently owned and locally managed by the buyer. And they can buy the product, store the product, and finally sell the product to the manufacturer, the users. So in this case, you have to know who is the middleman or the indirect channel of industrial market. One, industrial distributor. It's independently owned, locally managed. It could be, a business organization, or it could be an individual. So their major function is buying the product from the industrial manufacturer and stored by them within their warehouse, and finally they will sell to industrial users. So in this case, this is an independent business organization. So their basic characteristic of this industrial distributor is they receive the product from the manufacturer, and they are highly specialized in different product line. They specialized in special products. Maybe the manufacturer produce different products. So from this different product line, they will take a specialized product line and distribute with their names and with their stores. From this case, they can highly specialized with different product line, and their responsibility is also under the normal circumstances, which is managed and operated by local or independently, which is out of the control of the manufacturer. So this is some of the characteristics that distinguish industrial distributor from manufacturer's representative. They are normally local and independent owned and operated firms or business organization. They can take title and they will take the ownership of the product from the manufacturers. Once they purchase the product from the manufacturer, the title of the product could be under the industrial distributor. So in this case, they can take the title or they can possess the ownership. And then they can inventorize the product, and finally they can sell to the industrial users. So in this case, it's an independent owned business organization that takes a product from manufacturer and sell to the industrial users. So in this case, what's the advantage? The advantage for the manufacturer is the manufacturer will sell the product, transferring the ownership. So while the manufacturer transfer the ownership of the product, so who is responsible after the purchase process? The industrial producer, or distributor. So in this case, the manufacturer will take financial advantage as well as the warehouse. So the product should be transferred to the industrial distributor warehouse. Finance, since the title of the product is transferred to the distributor, so the manufacturer will take the finance, which means the payment, either in terms of installment payment, or it could be in terms of cash or on credit basis. It depends. Depends on their agreement. So the other advantage is it is often good source of local market and product information, since the industrial distributor will take over the product and sell to the industrial users. So this industrial distributor will have enough information about the local market and the product information. In this case, it will be a source of information for the manufacturers about the customer. And it can also lower the cost of distribution for manufacturers through fast and economic delivery. Fast and economic delivery is because of the manufacturer transfer the possession or the ownership of the product. So in this case, the industrial distributor is fully engaged in selling the product without the consent of the manufacturer, since the manufacturer once transfer the title and the possession to the distributor, the responsible seller is the industrial distributor. So in this case, this is some of the advantage over other means of middlemen. So apart from the advantage, there is some limitation. It may be impossible to control the distributor. Once the product, possession, or title is transferred to the industrial distributor, so the manufacturer may not control anymore once the product is transferred to the middleman. So in this case, it's difficult to control the distributors once the manufacturer transfer the title of the product. The distributor sometimes may not possess the technical and the service capability to handle sophisticated products. Some manufacturers transfer the title of a product with high sophisticated technology, but the distributor may not have technical competency to manage the product. So in this case, this is some of the limitations of using industrial distributors. And they often handle competing products, will not emphasize the marketing managers in particular. So when the distributor compete with product, so this product, it's out of the marketing manager's control. So in this case, this competing product may not be supervised by marketing managers. Now, every industrial product requires product manager. It requires marketing manager. It requires a team. So in this case, once the manufacturer transfers the product to industrial distributor, the industrial distributor may not have product manager. So in this case, they lack, independent product manager for a particular product. So in this case, there are a lot of limitations. So every indirect channel has an advantage as well as advantage or limitation. So in this case, they may not accept the product that takes considerable time to sell. So in this case, the distributor sometimes may not accept products that will take huge amount of time to sell a product. Sometimes it's difficult to sell a real estate product like home or house using an agent or industrial distributor because it will take a considerable time to sell a single product. So what they prefer is, a product with a less selling time. So in this case, if the manufacturer produces a product that takes huge amount of time to sell, so the industrial distributor may not accept this product. The other could be because of warehouse cost. It's difficult to take a bulk and or a product that requires huge time within the warehouse, which means industrial distributor prefer a product with a short inventory turnover time, which means it requires fast moving products, fast moving. If the product is not fast moving because of warehouse cost, so distributors may not accept this type of products. So many distributors are small and operate in a small amount, mom and papa, which means a kind of small business. So this type of business lack a management skill. They are not professionals. So in this case, if it is small and small, it's difficult to get management skill in all aspects of the business. So in this case, this is some of the limitation. To avoid this limitation of industrial distributors, manufacturers select their representatives. So other middlemen most often found in industrial market is the manufacturer's representative. So to avoid the previous limitation, so the manufacturer select their representatives. So this representative is known as the manufacturer's rep, simple. Or sometimes it is known as manufacturing agent or engineering representatives. Even we can say it's the broker. There are different names. So this representatives is different from the industrial distributors, even if they are independent middlemen. But their major function is take the product from the manufacturer and sell to the customer or industrial users without taking the title of the product, without taking. But in distributor, industrial distributors take the title of the product, which means they take the ownership. But manufacturer's representative will not take the ownership of the product. Their measure is as a middleman. They will take from the producer and sell to the manufacturer.
በትምህርት ከፍ ብሎ መብረር ይቻላል። ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ከከፍተኛ ትምህርት አግባብነትና ጥራት ኤጀንሲ ሙሉ ዕውቅናን ባገኘንባቸው በማስተርስ ዲግሪ ኤምቢኤ በስትራቴጂክ ማኔጅመንት፣ ኤምቢኤ በባንኪንግ እና ፋይናንስ፣ ኤምቢኤ በቢዝነስ ሊደርሺፕ፣ ኤምቢኤ በሪስክና ኢንሹራንስ፣ ኤምኤስሲ በኢንተርናሽናል ትሬድ እና ኢኮኖሚክስ ዘርፎች በእውቀት ለመቅረጽ የበቁ ፕሮፌሰሮቻችን አረንጓዴ መብራታቸውን አብርተዋል። በነገራችን ላይ በኬንያ ሀገር ከሚገኙ ስመጥር ዩኒቨርሲቲዎች በሚመጡ ፕሮፌሰሮች የትኩረት መስክ ትምህርቶቹ መሰጠታቸው ልዩ ያደርገናል። በምርጥ የትምህርት ስርዓት የተገነባው ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ በመጀመሪያ ዲግሪ በአቪዬሽን ማኔጅመንት፣ በሆቴል ማኔጅመንት፣ በአካውንቲንግና ፋይናንስ፣ በማርኬቲንግ ማኔጅመንት አስተማማኝ ትምህርት ይገቢውና ራስዎንና ሀገሮን ይለውጡ። አድራሻ 22 አደባባይ ወደ ሾላ በሚወስደው መንገድ ላይ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ህልሞን እውን ያደርጋል።
And the price is, determined by the manufacturer. It's difficult to adjust the price of the product. But in industrial distributor, once the distributor take over the products, they can sell at any price. But in manufacturer's representative, the price is, fixed, determined by the manufacturer. Their role is simply take from the producer and transfer to the user without making a price. The price is already determined by the manufacturer. And they basically has the following features. They are basically independent salesperson who sells on a commission basis. The price has already determined by the manufacturer. If the the manufacturer's representative sell the product on a fixed price by the manufacturer, so they will get some commission on specified price. And their income is the commission. They often represent a number of manufacturers. An industrial distributor, once you take the product of one organization, so it's impossible to take another's product. If you start to distribute Toyota products, it's difficult to distribute non-Toyota products. So in this case, but in manufacturer representative, so you can take a number of manufacturers' products as far as they are complementary. ስለዚህ ተመጋጋቢ እስከሆኑ ድረስ የአንድ ድርጅት ብቻ ዕቃ መያዝ ላይጠበቅ ይችላል ማለት ነው። ሴልስ ሪፕሬዘንታቲቭ ለምሳሌ የተለያዩ ድርጅቶችን የተለያዩ ፕሮዳክት መያዝ ይቻላል፣ ግን ተመጋጋቢ ከሆኑ ማለት ነው። And they are responsible to sell the product within the assigned territory, which means once the representative assigned in North region, it's difficult to sell the product in South region or East or West. So this manufacturer representative is assigned only in a specific territory to sell the product. Under normal circumstances, they possess limited authority with regard to the price and term of sales. They do have only limited amount of authority in making some adjustment in terms of sales or in price. So in this case, they are under the control of the manufacturers in terms of sales and price. Their basic function, selling their product, selling their principal's product. Principals means the manufacturer's product. In assigned sales territory, establish contracts in the marketplace, providing immediate entry. By representing many manufacturing principles, the manufacturer represent offer a complete product line. So they can take a complete product line, which means variety products. So they can reduce the cost of selling when the marketing manager faces seasonal product demand. When the demand may change as a result of season. So in this case, the marketing cost will reduce as a result of seasonal fluctuation. So there are a number of basic functions that manufacturing rep or representatives supposed to perform. Since they are paid a commission only, so when they sell the product, their advantage or the advantages to the company when this company are financially constrained. Without, since they are working on commission basis, if the company gets some bankruptcy, so the only thing that the manufacturer expected to pay for this manufacturing rep is on commission based on their sales. If they are not selling anything, so no more costs for manufacturers. So in this case, this is some of the advantage. The manufacturers' representatives are often technically trained. Since they are representative for the company, at least we have trained them technically to operate the product. So what's the problem in industrial distributor is they lack technical competency. To avoid this technical competency, the manufacturer's representative has enough technical skill to manage the product. So at reasonable costs. So in this case, once the manufacturing representative trained technically about the product, the cost will be minimized since they are representatives of the organization of the manufacturer. So they require no fringe benefits, which is non-monetary benefits. But in industrial distributor, so we have to deliver or provide some benefits in addition to the sales. But in manufacturer's representative, once we train and the payment is commission basis, no need of other fringe benefits. Fringe benefit means simply non-monetary benefits. So what's the problem in manufacturing representative? Since their payment is on commission basis, it's difficult to control. Since our relationship is on the commission basis. So in this case, there is a loose control, no tight control. And the other, the manufacturer's representative normally provide little field inventory. Since they purchase the product on commission basis and sell to the others, so no need of field inventory. So in this case, the representatives or the manufacturer representative, we can say that has no field inventory, or you can say little, which means you can say no field inventory, you can say. So lack of flexibility. Whenever there is a competition about the product price, it's difficult to, modify the price by the manufacturer's representative because they do have limited authority to change the price. So in this case, what's the problem? Whenever there is high competition, so they are not allowed to change the price. So it's difficult to win competitive bid in terms of competition because the prices has already determined by the manufacturer. So in this case, there is, lack of flexibility in terms of setting the product's price because the product price is determined by the manufacturer. Great difference in selling and technical competency of individual manufacturers. There is a difference between in selling and technical competency between individual manufacturers. So this great variation may not, bring some channel objectives. Sometimes when we formulate industrial channel strategies, first we have to formulate channel objectives. This channel objective should be met with, the organization's strategy. So in this case, when the company's strategies, selling the product through representatives by developing selling and technical competency, but as a result of individual variation between the representatives, it's difficult to meet channel objectives. So in this case, there is individual difference between selling and technical competency. So because of this limitation, the manufacturer wants to select another means or another strategy, which is known as the manufacturer's sales branch. This is the last option. If the distributor failed to meet the manufacturer's objective and the manufacturer's representative or the dealer failed to meet the manufacturer's objective, so the last resort or the last option is, the manufacturer's sales branch, or simply, sales branch. የመሸጫ ብራንች ማዘጋጀት ማለት ነው፣ የራሳቸውን ማለት ነው። This is, two types of sales branch: branch house and branch office. Their major difference is in terms of operation. In branch house, no inventory will be, and simply someone operate the manufacturers, or simply this branch house is a strategic location, simply serving the customer. They may collect the customer's need and send to the main office and carry the inventory to the customer without inventory or without warehouse. A branch office, simply this requires a sales office, and it carries no inventory in contrast to the branch house, but strategically located in which the company's field sales personnel operate in respective territories. Their major difference is, branch house carry the manufacturer's product to the customer. In branch office, no inventory is carried out. Simply, individuals are searching for customers and inform or promote the product. So the manufacturer can reach their customer through these three things. One, industrial distributor, two, manufacturer's representative, and the last one is manufacturer's sales branch. So these three strategic channel is indirect channel, direct. So using either indirect or direct channel, there might be a physical distribution. Physical distribution is simply a physical distribution of the products, which means taking the product from producer to consumer directly or indirectly, regardless of the channel selected, whether it is through distributor or direct or indirect. We need a physical facility. This physical facility for transportation or moving the product at the right amount at the right time through transportation. So the physical distribution is accomplished through transportation. Transportation, obviously, shipping through air freight, railway, motor carrier, through water, like pipe or ship, and so on, can transport. So in this case, when we select the means of transportation, so we have to take four factors. One, speed. The other, dependability, capability, and availability of each mode. And in addition to this, we have to consider the operation or operating costs. So shall we transport our products from Ethiopia to Germany through air transport or through motor transport? Motor transport is truck transport. Heavy duty truck or medium duty truck or light duty truck? Or is it possible to transport our products through railway? Is there availability? Railway availability between Germany and Ethiopia or any other country you can take, or within our country. If the product is produced in Addis and if you want to transport to, regional states. So which means of transportation is possible? Can we transport the product through water, through pipeline, through ship? Is it possible to take the product through air flights or air freight? So in this case, transportation is one physical distribution or one of the major areas of physical distribution. And the other, field warehouse. We need warehouse. Once we transport the product, so we need a field warehouse. First, we have to deposit in our warehouse and then distribute to the customer. Most of the time, this field warehouse is important in manufacturers' representative. Field inventory management. Once we transport the product to the field warehouse, so we have to manage, we have to control inventory control. So this inventory control, there are a number of activities we have to perform in inventory management. We have to maintain the optimum inventory level, the optimum. Optimum in a sense, the transportation cost and the warehouse or the inventory cost should be the same. That's an optimum. So in this case, we have to take average carrying cost and average inventory cost. We have to maintain the turnover rate. So, stock out is costly for manufacturers. If customers ask for a product and our store is empty, which is known as stock out, it's difficult to, uh, recall upon the customers once the customer is dissatisfied. So in this case, in field warehouse, we have to apply field inventory management or field inventory control. We have to maintain the right amount or the optimum amount of the inventory. So within that physical distribution, we have to handle the material handling. So material handling is, performed once the product is inventorized in warehouse. So within the warehouse, we have to choose appropriate ventilation within the warehouse. We have to use different tools or different equipment to transport the product or to inventorize the product. So you can use forklift, hand lift, conveyor, crane, and so on to handle the material. Once we handle the material within the warehouse, we have to protect the product, not only in the warehouse, when we transport. Protective packaging. Most of the time, industrial products are damaged while they are shipping from one place to another place. So we have to use protective packaging techniques. Protective. So we have to use different containers. We have to use different repackaging techniques. So in this case, in physical distribution, we have to protect our products. This protective package will save the product from damage. So in this case, the other could be order processing. Once the customer order the product, so we have to process the product, starting from packaging and loading or unloading into different transportation means, and finally take the bill of quantity or specification, and based on the specification send it to the customer, and finally receive good receiving notice using inspection and so on. There are different procedures in order processing, starting from order sending. The first step is issuing the order and finally receiving the product. So we have to manage. So what are the physical distribution or the physical distribution areas? Transportation. Other physical distribution areas in different industrial market or industrial organization or companies. Banking. What's left in here is banking. But in some books, banking facility is, ordered or in order processing categories. We have to issue the order, send the order, sales or purchase order to the manufacturer, and based on the order, ship the product to the manufacturer. And through this, there is an exchange between the buyer and the seller. So the buyer will take the product and in exchange provide monetary value, either through direct payment in cash basis or through credit basis. So this credit or cash base through bank or non-bank. So in this case, this is some of the major distribution or physical distribution areas. So most business companies view the physical distribution as individual function, but rather it's an integration or integrated system of physical distribution. So this transportation, field warehouse, inventory management, material handling, protective packaging, and order processing are an integrated function of an organization. They are not independent. They are not. Once we transport the product, we need a warehouse to unload the product inventorized. We need inventory. In inventory or in warehouse, we need proper management of the product, which is material handling. We have to protect the product since within the warehouse and the transportation products may be damaged. So to protect from damage, we have to have protective packaging like container. And order processing, the payment should be made once the product reach in industrial users. Payment should be made either through cash basis in the form of face-to-face payment or through banks payment. So this is how to handle industrial products. So this is, I think, the end of this course. But for more reading, I think I have attached the last communication or the last P. The last P, which is known as promotion. So this is the end of the class. Did I give you an assignment on this course?
ልዩነት መፍጠር ዓላማችን ነው። ዓለም አቀፍ ተወዳዳሪ መሆን አለባችሁ። የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ ጥራትና ደረጃውን የጠበቀ ስልጠና በመስጠት ብቁ ዜጋ እያፈራን ነው። በፍላይት ኦፕሬሽን፣ በበረራ መስተንግዶ፣ በቲኬቲንግና ሪዘርቬሽን፣ በሆቴልና ቱሪዝም ሙያዎች አሰልጥነን ተወዳዳሪ እናደርጉታለን። ኮሌጃችን ካናዳ ከሚገኘው ኢንተርናሽናል ኤር ትራንስፖርት አሶሲዬሽን አያታና ከእንግሊዙ ICM ጋር በመተባበር ዓለም አቀፍ ዕውቅና ያለው ስልጠና እየሰጠ ይገኛል። በፍላይት ኦፕሬሽን በበረራ መስተንግዶ የምንሰጣቸው ስልጠና ከኢትዮጵያ ሲቪል አቪዬሽን ባለስልጣን ሙሉ ዕውቅና አለው። አድራሻ ከጎላጉል ታወር 22 አደባባይ ወደ ሾላ በሚወስደው መንገድ ላይ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ ህልሞን እውን ያደርጋል።